So, how to thrive in a conflicting environment. My number one recommendation, what I do when new people come in and work with me one-on-one, is trigger by trigger, you take your power back. Trigger by trigger. Now, the caveat is that sometimes people know what their triggers are. My trigger is my spouse, my trigger is my ex, my trigger is my boss, my trigger is fill in the blank. But that's not really it. I guarantee you that's not really it. You're responding, you're reacting to your perceived trigger in your life. But what you're really responding to is something that happened to you much earlier in life, a shock or a panic or a trauma that you've carried with you probably the vast majority of your life. And each one of those is a trigger. Now, do you know what it is? Probably not. If we sat here for 10 years on a therapist couch and talked it out, I guarantee you would not come close to finding the original trigger. You would focus a lot on your husband or your boss or your wife or your, whoever that is right in front of you, but you're not going to get at the real trigger. You just can't. It's energy now. It's just pure energy circulating in portions of the body-mind field complex. The memory of it has long ago disappeared. So, but the way you have to get at it is to remove each trigger. Now, we're going to get at a lot of them tonight. So what I want you to keep in mind as we go through all this is that everything in this matrix is built by inversion and distortion. Just fact. We are engineered to live in a world of love and light, not a world of lack and restriction. But we're functioning in a world of lack and restriction. We are constantly in a battle with negative frequencies, whatever those frequencies look like. Now, they could actually be the negative frequency of a cellular tower, a wireless router, whatever. But more likely, it's the negative frequency of the people around you. You are literally picking up the people around you and their negative frequencies. So if they have a bad attitude, you find yourself in a good mood. You walk into the office, you say, "Hey, Joe, how you doing today?" Joe's in a really pissy mood. And all of a sudden, for no apparent reason, you can't put your finger on it. You go sit down, and a few minutes later, you begin to be in a bad mood. And it turns out to be a bad day at work. You picked up what Joe had. And that's simply because of the vagus nerve. And that's where we're going tonight, by the way. But the vagus nerve is a large hormonal antenna in the physical body that picks up everything around us at all times. Okay. And when that thing gets stuck, or when energy gets stuck in it, that's where our triggers can get they can get stuck to the point where they're very easily triggerable. Okay. So you got to be conscious of the fact that you're dealing with a vagus nerve that is an antenna. You're picking up everything around you, and all of you are indigo souls. So you're empaths on top of that. So you are definitely sensing the energy around you. So we are constantly in a battle with negative frequencies, and those take many, many, many different forms. Okay. It can be as simple as turning on the TV and watching the news for 5 minutes. It drives me crazy. It sends my nervous system into overdrive, watching that kind of stuff. It's all about design. It's all by design to keep you within a certain bandwidth. Well, what is that bandwidth? It's very restrictive, very hyper-focused. I'm focusing on this issue and this issue only. That's all I'm paying attention to. I'm not actively creating my life. I'm stuck in this bandwidth, and I'm paying attention only to this. So instead of thinking that you have control now, you are being controlled, and you may not even realize that. It is to keep you in fear and confusion, to prevent you from realizing your true nature. And your true nature, and I've said this over and over again, is happy, healthy, joyful, fearless, loving, and alive. That is who you are at your core. That is part of your makeup. That is at the core of who you are as an energetic being having a human experience. Happy, healthy, joyful, fearless, loving, and alive. And if you're not there, it's possibly because of these frequencies that you are being bombarded with all the time, from other people, from circumstances, from the world at large, from various electronic devices. You could see a real major shift in humanity when the iPhone came out. People started getting their dopamine hits by scrolling Facebook and all the other social media platforms that are out there, rather than having one-on-one interaction with people around them. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to take a side story here. Our youngest son is at Harvard right now. He's in a double master's program up there. And I think we were up there in August, end of August, first part of September, to move him into a new apartment, getting closer to campus. And we were standing on the street, and it was like a party. First of all, it's called Moving Weekend, and I didn't realize this was a thing. But in Boston, their number one job, not job, that's not the right. Their number one business in Boston is education. There is a college on every corner. There's a college on every street's got some kind of university. MIT is right next to Harvard. You can't throw a stone without hitting a college or a university up there. It's amazing. And everybody seems to work for colleges and universities. And I'm not criticizing that. That's not a bad thing. But this is moving weekend, right? And for some weird cultural, traditional reason, all leases terminate at the end of August. All leases. So, because that coincides with the school year. So if people are changing apartments, or moving in or moving out or leaving or whatever, it's happening that weekend. And because I thought, what the hell is going on? Is there a convention in town? Is there a festival going on or something? Because people were all over the streets, and you couldn't find a U-Haul to save your life. If you didn't have a previous reservation, you were screwed. And as a side note, Boston is a very old city, and most of their bridges and overpasses are very low. They're not made for modern automobiles and trucks and so forth. And there was numerous events on the news that night when we were sitting in the hotel about U-Haul trucks being sheared off because people from out of town come in there, rent a U-Haul, think they can get under the overpass like they can at home, and they can't. And there were several that they showed of these trucks just being sheared off. The top of them were sheared off on moving weekend. Okay, now that's neither here nor there. The reason I'm telling you this is I see all these people. They're literally in the streets. People are walking by me, up to me, and as a Midwesterner, I look you in the eye and I say, how you doing? Having a good morning? Beautiful day, isn't it? 99% of the people on the street just walked right past me. Most of the people had no interaction, would make no eye contact with me at all. And it was amazing. And that night at dinner, we were talking to Tyler about it. And we just quizzed him. We said, do you notice people are unfriendly in Boston? He said, oh, yeah. Yeah. He said, you can tell who is a native and who is from out of town. And specifically, you can tell who is from the Midwest, because Midwesterners want to make eye contact and have conversation. And he said, people who are native Bostonians want nothing to do with you. They just want to keep their head down, keep their nose in their iPhone or whatever it is they're doing, and go on about their business. So I just thought that was fascinating, because that's what most people did. They walked around with their iPhone. They'd walk right in front of your car, not even look up, and their face was right in their iPhone. So electronic frequencies from that phone is causing a lot of stuff, and I'm going to go into some of the ways to get around it here before we close out tonight. But that's one good example of how a frequency of needing to be connected, needing to be on Facebook, needing to be on TikTok, needing to be on Instagram or whatever it is, can get in your way of living your life. Okay. All right. And that certainly keeps you in a very set bandwidth, rather than connecting with other human beings and having conversations and getting to know people. You just go on about your business and we're all separate. So this is set up to keep you in fear and confusion, to prevent you from realizing your true nature, and it's a true war of frequencies. It's a true war of frequencies. Now, what does that give us? The separation can cause burnout. Now, I've talked about burnout before, or it can lead to emotional burnout, because we as humans, the human part of us, needs to connect with other people. It does us good to say hello, how are you, and get to know somebody and have a polite interaction, whether it's holding the door open for somebody or, whatever it is. But it's important, right? And so if you're not paying attention, it's really easy to get stuck into these frequencies that keep us separated. And that translates into emotional burnout. Now, how do you get burnout? Well, you can do it in a number of ways, like pouring your time and effort into people that don't pour back into you. Having a one-sided friendship, having a one-sided relationship, having none at all, being on the go, or not on the go, but being the go-to person for emotional support. I know some of you are in that situation where, all your friends and family call you up. You hear all their drama, and you probably don't return the favor because they may not have the capacity to hear what you have to say. So being the go-to person for emotional support. That's one way of really kicking burnout into high gear. Trying to keep the peace by silencing yourself. I have seen this play out in my family to a great degree. Just keep your mouth shut. Don't bring it up. And I don't have that policy. My policy is, especially with my grandchildren, I will voice my opinion long, loud, strong. I will say exactly what I think and why I think it and back up my opinion once, and then I will let it lie, because I'm sure that my sons have heard me. I know they hear me because they can repeat it back to me verbatim months or years later. And I just speak my piece and let it go. I don't drill on it. I don't beat on it, but they do know where I stand on particular issues, especially when it comes to my grandchildren. And as a grandparent, I have a little bit more experience and wisdom, and I feel like it's fair for me to express that to my children. The other way of burnout is maintaining one-sided friendships or relationships, where you're always the one calling them. You're always the one setting the date for lunch. You're always the one arranging what's going on. One-sided relationships or friendships. That could be family members too. Also, another way of doing or getting into burnout is trying to save people from themselves. Oof, boy, is that a big one. Trying to save others from themselves, trying to keep them from making stupid mistakes or making probably some mistakes that we made ourselves. But that'll get you in trouble. And one of the things you've got to realize, and I did this in my own practice, it was like I could see when people first started coming to me, I saw their potential. And I still do this today. I can see their potential. I can tell if somebody's going to make it or not. I can tell if they've got the tenacity to keep going. But you have to be careful that you don't want their healing for them more than they want their healing for them. Okay, you just got to be careful. You don't want it more than they do, because it's really easy to go down that path where, oh my God, I know if we just do this, 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 and this, you will be free. You will break free. And sometimes people are not willing to go there, and you have to recognize that. And that's where they're at in their journey at that time. And you have to let them go on their journey and their path. You're not going to live their life for them. So it's really important that you don't get into this mode of trying to save people. And then giving people endless chances at your expense. We have a family member who watched the house one time, and she trashed one of our cars. I won't reveal any names, but she damaged the hood of one of our cars, and it was obvious that the car had been taken off-road. And it was a four-wheel drive. It was legitimate. It could do what it needed to do, but that wasn't why she was watching the house. It wasn't to take our car out and go four-wheeling on God knows where. And we confronted her with it, and she claimed nothing happened. It wasn't her, and well, she was the only one with keys, and she was the only one at the house. So years later, when she comes and she asks to borrow a car, we say no, we're just not going to do it. It wasn't. We didn't have a good experience before. We don't believe that you were honest with us. We're not letting you have another experience with an expensive machine at our expense. So giving people endless chances is never a good thing. And when I say endless, I mean you can tell when somebody has learned a lesson, changed, grown, and then you can give them another chance. And you can also tell when somebody has not learned their lesson, has not changed in any way, shape, or form, and will probably do this time what they did last time. So that's how you avoid burnout or emotional burnout, is those little hints. Okay. So one of the things that happens, though, when you get to emotional burnout, because of all the conflicting environments that we're in and the frequencies that we're in, and you go through the state of emotional burnout and you give, it could end in abandonment. You abandon yourself. Now, that seems crazy, but you only have so much energy for your life, to create your reality, to draw things to you, to set goals and ambitions. So you have to be very judicious about the way you manage and use that energy. Otherwise, you will end up abandoning yourself. Well, what does that look like? Well, not acting according to your values. Not acting according to your values, like in the case where I express my opinion to my children. I'm not afraid of losing them. I'm not afraid of, they may be pissed. I know they get pissed off for a while, but then eventually they figure out dad's right again, and they begin to do things differently. So I never hold back from expressing my opinion to my children. But not acting according to your values. Speak your truth. Say what's right for you. Don't hold back. The other way you abandon yourself is trying to get everyone to like you. Oh boy, if you got this one, you're in trouble, because there is no way in hell everybody is going to like you. I learned a long time ago, I am not everybody's cup of tea. And I also learned that not everybody's going to hear my message and resonate with it, or they're going to think I'm a cranky old man and just turn the channel or go on to the next thing. And that's okay. Doesn't offend me at all. I came here for a very specific reason, and that is to help indigo souls, light workers, empaths, starseeds, sensitives to get on their feet and out in the world and function again. And if you don't fall in that category, I'm not it for you. And that's okay. I will never have everybody liking me, nor do I give a rat's behind whether you do or not. And sometimes I don't even care if you like me or not, even if you work with me. Sometimes you need to hear the truth about what's going on and how you're processing energy or not processing energy. So the next one is being overly apologetic. Being overly apologetic. Now, these are signs you've abandoned yourself. You apologize for everything. I'm sorry. Our youngest son went through a phase like this. I'm pretty sure probably 7th or 8th grade. And he would just apologize for everything. And one day I sat him down and I said, listen, there is nothing that you need to apologize for unless you intentionally offend or upset somebody. But just because we question you or say something back or give you feedback there's no need for you to apologize. You are whole, perfect, and complete the way you are. And you need to own that. And if you made a mistake, do better the next time. But do not apologize. Unless, of course, you have intentionally offended somebody. But not for everything. It was for everything. It was obvious. It was quite an issue to watch. And he took those words to heart. And I saw a massive shift in his being, in his confidence, in his self-confidence, and today he's at Harvard. So apparently the message landed. Not speaking up when things bother you, and when you abandon yourself, when you don't speak your truth. When you see something that upsets you, you can speak your truth and say what you think. You don't have to hold back. You don't have to bite your tongue. You're more than entitled to your opinion, and in this country we have the First Amendment. You have free speech. Say what you damn well please. So that's when you're abandoning yourself, is when you hold back and bite your tongue. Not setting boundaries. Like with this family member that damaged our automobile years ago. She comes back, wants another shot at it. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to make the same mistake twice. You have every right to set a boundary, draw a boundary, and hold to that boundary. And not give in. Pretending to be okay. Just meandering through life. Just meandering through life in a state of it's okay is not good enough for you. You're a creator. You came here to create your reality, to create, at least if nothing else, to create your response to the reality that you've been dropped in. And that's by taking 100% responsibility for your being, for your existence, for your health, your wealth, your vitality. So it's okay to take responsibility. And you don't have to pretend that everything is okay. And the biggest one I see with people who have abandoned themselves because of conflicting environments and emotional burnout, the biggest thing I see happening is making other people's expectations of you your responsibility. Your responsibility. Making other people's expectations of you your responsibility. Now, that takes many configurations. That can be your spouse, that can be your brother, sister, mother, husband, whatever. But everybody seems to have an expectation of you, and then you take it on and you make it your responsibility to live into that expectation. That is never, ever a winning formula. Never. My family has learned you can expect whatever you want from me. You're going to get love and kindness, but that's as far as it goes. My mother used to have massive amounts of expectations on me. What I would dress like, what I would look like, how many times I would attend church, all that kind of stuff. I don't play that game anymore. I live my life the way I want to live my life and the way I want to live my life. And I don't care what other people think of me. I'm independent of the opinions of other people. And that's a crucial step toward breaking free in this reality. Because remember, the frequencies that are bombarding us is one of control, mind control, political control, social control, cultural control. We're expected to conform to certain cultural norms. I've never bought into that. Now, I haven't always had the wherewithal to be able to exercise that. That's come after I've done a lot of work on myself and got into vibrational healing and remember who I truly am, spiritual being, having human experience. I don't have time to play around with your cultural norms and the BS that goes on in this world right now. I don't have time to pay attention to it. I don't know what they are, nor would I care, because I would not conform. And in the Bible, Jesus said, be in this world, but not of it. And I think that's some of the best advice you can take on and live with is be in this world, but not of it. At the end of the day, you have to speak. You have to respond. You have to react. You have to be responsible for yourself. And so don't let cultural norms and conditioning push you in a direction that does not serve you. Okay. So again, we live in a world of negative frequencies constantly from multiple angles, right? Frequency takes many, many forms. It is vibration. So people can send negative vibrations toward you. They can send negative beliefs toward you. They can do all kinds of stuff. That translates into emotional burnout because we give, don't get anything back. And then that translates into self-abandonment. And there you're